really happy with the kind of teaching techniques, effective learning methods that LeadIAS is bringing in. I think that it's the need of the hour. It's how you bring in yourself, how you understand a particular issue and reason it out and talk about it is what is going to make you different from somebody else. Over newspaper, 45 minutes, one newspaper is done. You get into a habit of reading it every day and you can finish one newspaper in half an hour. I had no shame. I had already worked for about 18 years in the industry by then. I had no ego. I picked up the phone shamelessly and I said, I don't understand this, tell me. And they told me. And I understood it. And it made me a better person at my job. Both literally and figuratively. The weather is warm outside, so I'm feeling warm literally and figuratively too for the lovely warm welcome. Well, we heard that 40 minutes of a session from me and 10 minutes of question and answers or Q&A. I'm going to do the opposite. I don't believe in following the rules-based order. So I believe in having interactive sessions, and I believe in having a session which is going to be useful both for you and for me. For me, because it's a learning experience for me too. Every event in life is a learning experience, and what you can take away from it makes you a better person. Like has already been mentioned, really happy with the kind of teaching techniques, effective learning methods that LeadIAS is bringing in. I think that it's the need of the hour, and we desperately need to re-look at how students, youngsters, and the youth of this country are taught, because we are following a system now which seems to be a little outdated. There are 135 crore Indians, 1,000 seats for next year as far as the Indian Civil Services is concerned. So how is each one of you going to be different, or how are you going to stand out from the 135 crore Indians that are there and who everyone wants to get into the system? So that is why we need to take a relook at the way we look at the kind of information that is available in front of us. You, me, and 135 crore other Indians have access to the same kind of information. There's nothing different. And today we live in an information overload kind of situation. So how do you get the right kind of information is most important. So that is where you need to start first. Unfortunately, this generation that is here, I've seen make simple mistakes like not knowing what to type on Google. I've tried to ask people, okay, find me this information. And I see that they take 1 hour, take 20 minutes and don't find the information. It's all there in front of you. All you need to do is put in the right kind of search words in Google. So you learn to start there. What do you need to type on your mobile phone or on your computer to understand or to realize you get the best information out of Google? That is where you start first. As simple and as basic as that. From then on, life becomes a lot more easier, because once the information is in front of you, then step 2. What is step 2? Anyone? Interactive session, I said. Step 2 is study. Study you're doing all your life. A toddler is also studying, learning from its parents. Reading. No. Once the information is in front of you, yeah. One at a time. Analyzing, okay. What else? Practice. Okay. That practice comes later. No, first you have to understand it. Only then the practice will come. Correct. That is what you need to see. You need to find out and identify what you need and what you don't need. Why will you take in something that you don't need? What are you going to do with that information? For instance, I was talking about the education system. I am a humanities student. I have studied 5 years of journalism, graduation, post-graduation. And in school, I learnt about theta, beta, peta and all of those things. I worked for 20 years. Not once in my life have I used it. What is the use of learning that? Basics, everyone should know, everyone should understand. From an exam perspective, see earlier, now it's not there, but earlier they used to have statistics. And an analytical way of understanding and realizing and gauging the candidate's ability. Right? Now it's very different. So how do you decide what you want to take in and what you don't want to take in? For that, you need to be clear as to what you need. Take in only what you need. Step 2 is complete. Step 3, what is it? Once you have the information in front of you, what will you do next? Process, very good. But process is also part of your processing, whether you want that or not. So that is part of the same process. What else? Consolidation. Consolidation happens in the same process. It's all part of the same process. Anything else? Prioritize, same thing. No, you decide whether what you want to take in, what you don't want to take in. Next. Next is learning. Correct. Next you have to learn and understand. Learn and understand what is there. What you don't understand, what will you do? What will you do? Leave it. What you don't understand, what will you do? That is the problem with our education system. What you don't know also, you will ensure that you mug it up. So someone who's done engineering in 2013 comes for UPSC interview in 2022 and is asked about computer engineering that person studied in 2013 or 14 or 15, and every question that he asked, 0. Why? Because he was forced to do that. He mugged it up for his exam perspective. After that, he has forgotten. So what do you do next? What do you do with that information? What you don't understand, what are you going to do? No one. Look to your left. That's why LeadIAS is there. So you get your doubts clarified and you understand it. Without understanding, let's get it straight. Without understanding, you're not going to go anywhere, because the UPSC also has gotten smarter. The UPSC also has understood and realized that there are these factories called UPSC coaching institutes who produce mass products every year, who come out and say the same thing. There is nothing different. There is absolutely nothing different. So what's the use? It's like a computer. All Mac 3s are the same. All Mac 5s are the same. All Mac 7s are the same. How do you differentiate, or how does one become different from 2? How? Tell me. Each one's reasoning and understanding capability and capacity is very different from the other. So when you ask questions, when you learn and when you understand from a different perspective. You reason from a different perspective, because your background is different, because where you come from is different, your upbringing is different. If you just take in what is taught and what is spoken directly, without understanding it, without your brain processing it, without your mind analyzing it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, infinite will have the same answer. It's how you bring in yourself, how you understand a particular issue and reason it out and talk about it is what is going to make you different from somebody else. So when you're stuck somewhere and when you don't understand, you have a great bunch of mentors, teachers, lecturers, whatever you want to call them, you call them that. Ensure that you understand it. If you don't get the right kind of information anywhere, there are so many people out there who are willing to help. Come to me, I will help you out with some things that I know. Just remember that the way you understand and reason a particular aspect in a subject will be very different from the other. So ask those questions and understand the issue perfectly first. Only then can you be different from anybody else. Okay, so these are things done. 3 steps. 4th step. Practice. Because why? Practice makes you. It's all there. You all know it. It's all there in front of you. So you practice and you ensure that you keep reinventing and making better versions of your answers, and in the process, because you're learning and understanding, you're making better versions of yourself too. So you're not only becoming more intelligent and more knowledgeable, but you're becoming a better citizen for this country. And that is what is most important while you get into the Indian civil services. Don't forget, you're getting into the Indian civil service. So you need to be a better citizen first. Only if you are a better citizen can you produce even better citizens. So that is what is important. Okay. After that, next. 4 steps done. How many steps have we finished? Who's paying attention? 4 steps. Okay. 4 or 5? 4. Okay. Very good. All of you are made for UPSC. Next. 5th step. No step. Practice and over. Finished. Go home. Next. Information is constantly changing today. Very good. If you practice today and you write your exam 12 months later, is it going to help? So keep yourself updated. How do you keep yourself updated? Quickly, fast, come on. This is not some rocket science. I'm not in ISRO. Newspapers, very good. How many newspapers do you read? 1. What will you do for 1 newspaper? The editorial style of the Hindu is very different. The editorial times of the Hindustan Times is very, very different. The editorial styles of Times of India is very different. So what will you do with 1? It's not some religion that, I'll follow only Quran, or I'll only follow Bible, or I'll only follow Bhagavad Gita. Is it a religion? Then you should read at least 5 newspapers in a day. It's very easy to read 5 newspapers. For 20 years or more, 25 years, I've been reading 7 newspapers every day. You know how it is easy to read a newspaper? Don't know. You're getting, again, I told you, information is all in front of you. You need to decide what to do with it. What are we at? We are at step 1 or step 2. What was it? Something. You are paying attention. I'm just talking. Okay? The newspaper is in front of you. First page you need to read. What is the second page in the newspaper? Do you need that? If it is such a big regional news, it will come to the first page. Clear? So you are an Indian administrative service or Indian civil service, so you need to have an overall picture of India. You need to remove the regional bias. That is what is most important, and you will learn that by ensuring that you read the first page of the newspaper. Next 3 pages you can leave. In between 2 pages of ads would have come. Yes or no? Okay, so 5 pages you finished. How much time you need for that? 15 minutes, you finished 5 pages. What next? Editorial. Editorial also, once you get into the habit of reading newspapers, you will see that there are only certain individuals who write for a particular newspaper. Over a period of time, what happens is you understand the style, the language, and you can preempt what a particular person is going to write about an issue. So you just skim through it. Initially you must read. Initially it will take some little bit of hard work. It will take a little bit of time. So you go through that. Editorial will take another 15 minutes. Op-ed will take another 15 minutes. Right? What next? National news. From the first page, if it is so important, it will come to that. If you feel that you need more depth in the subject, read it. If you don't need more depth on the subject, if it is some fight between CPIM and Congress and all that, leave it. What will you do with that? If it is something related to policy, if it is related to public affairs, public administration and all of those aspects, you better read it. One topic that I feel that you should keep a close eye on is legal issues, because they have multiple ramifications and multiple implications, because they have an impact on how citizens live their lives. It has an impact on policy making. It has an impact on ground level work as well. Right? So that is something. So national news over. Then what else next? International news. International news. Look no further than me. Khatam. For those of you who don't know who I am, you can please leave. I'm kidding, huh? So, international news also, you can pretty much read in about 10-12 minutes. You don't need more than that. What comes next? Business. In national daily, skip it. Then, over newspaper, 45 minutes, one newspaper is done. You get into an habit of reading it every day, and you can finish one newspaper in half an hour. You don't need to read as much as me, but I think you should read at least 2. If you can, if you feel comfortable, read 3 newspapers, not because of anything else. Like I said, it's because the perspective and the style in each paper changes. And over a period of time, you'll also realize and understand that the first page news is the same everywhere. So you read one newspaper and you're fine with it. Then what you need to do in the other newspapers, skip to the editorial and op-ed. And there also, because you have identified the kind of people that write and the kind of people who look and the kind of people you know already understand what they say, you can decide whether you further want to read that or not. So in 1 hour, you finish 3 newspapers. I'm telling you, it's simple. I've done it. That's why I'm saying it. Don't be surprised. You start doing it, you'll feel. Then you take another half an hour or 40 minutes to look at at least one economic daily, so that you get a better hold and a grasp of economic issues. Because somehow, those who are not used to economic affairs find it a little allergic. I want to stay away from this kind of a thing. But you get into the habit of doing it, the more you read, you'll understand. For instance, I have no economics background at all. Zero economics background. In 2016, my predecessor, Mr. Girish Nikam, a dear friend of mine, passed away unfortunately while he was on the job. And I had to take over some of the shows that he was doing, and I had to take over economy as well. And at that point in time, it was demonetization time. And I didn't know the D of demonetization. I'm being honest with you, I didn't know the D of demonetization. And suddenly I get thrown into this deep end where I have to have intellectual, hardcore discussions on the economy, where I don't know the up E of E also. That was my state, that was my condition. And I am talking about these really difficult economic issues on a platform where you can't make a mistake. You're working for the Parliament of India. A government has done something, and it is that same government which is my Annadata. Okay, so I have to be careful, clearly. And it was a tough time for me, but then I took it up as a challenge. Take it up as a challenge. Tell yourself that this is something that you can do, and you will do it. And in the span of 4 months or less than 4 months, by the time the 2017 budget was presented, I was the lead economic anchor for the channel. How? Followed the 5 steps. Thankfully, along the way, I had access to some stalwarts in the economic field. I had no shame. I had already worked for about 18 years in the industry by then. I had no ego. I picked up the phone shamelessly and I said, I don't understand this, tell me. And they told me. And I understood it. And it made me a better person at my job. The resources and the information are all in front of you. It is up to each and every one of you to decide what you want to do with it and how you want to analyze it and process it. Clear? Any questions? Anything that anybody would like to ask or say? Free, open house, don't worry. No? Either you all are all paying attention or nobody is paying attention. It's one of the two. What is it? Clear or no? Any questions? No questions. Okay. Let's move on then to why should you take up a job in the Indian Civil Services? Is that something that you want to know, want to understand? India from 1947 to 2022 is a very different country. We've progressed and transformed ourselves into the what largest economy are we? Huh? Loudly, loudly. Fifth largest or sixth largest? What are we? Huh? Because those numbers keep changing. So what shall we decide right now? Sixth largest. It may change. By the time you write your exam, by the time you go for all that, it will be different. Okay. Sixth largest on what terms? Nominal GDP. Clear? And what are we? What is the other method that is used to? Very good. What is it? What is, you said PPP, okay fine. What is PPP? Tell me now. One at a time. What is purchasing power parity? What is it? It's a great term to say PPP. Everyone knows PPP. You've heard it in the newspaper, seen it in the newspaper. This is what I mean by understanding. Why do you need to understand? Very simple. What is it? Who will tell me? In simple terms. It's there in the word itself. Huh? Huh? Understood? This is what I mean by just analyze a little bit. You will get the answer. Okay. What are we? What rank are we now? Third rank. So we've gone a long way from where we were. We didn't have food to feed our people. From there we are come to exporting to the world. Vocal for global. Isn't that what we are right now? I'm not saying there are no challenges along the way. There are many things that we still have to do right in this country. There are many things that we have to do differently. That is where you are required. That is where you can bring about change. That is where you can bring about a difference and make a difference in this world. If you don't believe me when I say that India is not a superpower but an emerging power, emerging global power, I'll give you an example of what happened over the last 2-3 weeks. Australia, that never even looked towards us or never even bothered to look this side because it had its own things, signed an economic and trade agreement with India. And it is the first country. Okay, why is it? The Prime Minister called it a watershed moment. Why is it a watershed moment? Anyone? Just because he's saying watershed moment, everybody is like, yeah, Modi said 15 lakhs each one of us will get, so we'll all get 15 lakhs. Okay, why is it? Why is it a watershed moment? Something must have happened for it to be. And are you guys aware of the news or no? No, it's okay if you don't know. You're still in the process of learning and understanding these things, so it's fine if you don't know. Why is it a watershed moment? Yes, young man, in the Bagua color, come on. Huh? No. Don't know. Are you sure it's a free trade agreement? What is a free trade agreement? It's there again in the caption itself. What is a free trade agreement? What is free trade agreement? No, it's free trade between two countries, that's all. Zero tariffs. That's what a free trade agreement is. It's called free trade for a reason. It's not a free trade agreement. The newspapers and all that, unfortunately, or TV channels and all that, loosely give it a term free trade. But it's not really a free trade agreement. Nobody knows. It's for the first time we've had an economic agreement and partnership where services are included. It's also an agreement with another Quad country. Why was I trying to make this point? I forgot about it. What was I saying before that? So, last 2 weeks, a week before that, we signed an agreement, a comprehensive economic partnership agreement with the UAE. Many of you have some kind of connection with the UAE, so it's good to talk about the UAE. I'll talk about the UAE. UAE offers a great access to the world from there because it is a trading hub. It always has been. So that's why that is also important. Did you see the line of foreign dignitaries who are waiting to come to India? Foreign Secretary of UK, Deputy National Security Advisor of the United States, foreign, and all back to back, because they each wanted to bring something to the table for India because they didn't want to miss out. And the Foreign Minister of Russia, Nepal's Prime Minister was here. The entire population of Sri Lanka is asking India for help. The ties that we have between Bangladesh and India are said to be in a golden period, the best ever. Bhutan has never created any problems for us. Despite everything that China is doing to undermine India's presence and India's dominance in the region, things are working out for us. So we must be doing something right. Or it's not just going to fall in our lap this way. So, it's a great opportunity and a great challenge as well to be working in this kind of an atmosphere where you're making decisions, where you're carrying out orders to ensure that we become a better country. And that is why it is important to have a job in the Indian civil services, because you can truly bring about change, and change like none other. Not just that, it's also a status symbol. From a personal perspective also, it's a status symbol. It's great to have the Indian flag on your table where you're sitting now. Who wouldn't want that? You get a beautiful house. You get everything taken care of. So what more do you need? Because I truly believe from the bottom of my heart, it is the youth and all of you who can bring about change and bring about the desired kind of change. There are going to be challenges along the way, but also remember one more thing. The system itself is developed in such a way that if you're true to yourself and if you work true to your conscience, it's going to be very difficult to get rid of you. Getting in is very tough. Getting out is even tougher. And if everybody is on the same page and only works towards nation building, how many times will you be transferred? Once you're transferred, the next person also comes and does the same thing. Then what? And like I said, the system protects you. So if you tell the politician or anybody else, give it to me in writing, I will do it, nobody will even touch a pen. That is the power of the Indian civil service. Same thing with the police. The kind of power that the police has, the kind of ability that the police has to change things is tremendous. Everything is in the hands of the police. It's a different thing that the police have political masters, so they don't work according to the law of the land. But it's amazing, you know, a woman who is beaten up by her drunk husband. Small things like this also you can bring about change. It's just about a police officer of the IPS rank bringing out an order and having the will. Everything else will fall in line, will fall in place. And there are stories of people doing amazing work. So many stories of people doing amazing work. Read those amazing stories. Don't be taken aback or don't be pulled towards all the negative news and negative information. That is the media's job to report sensational news, because people like to read about it. Don't forget, the media is also a reflection of society. It's because the society is asking for it, the media is giving it. So a friend of mine is a movie producer. So he went to, he made this beautiful documentary on festivals of Bharata. And the first festival was the Dasara festival in Mysore. And it was very well made. The concept was brilliant. And it was really fast. I loved it. So he took this pilot project. He wanted to do, I think, 12 or 15 festivals across the country, big festivals like this, and take it to one of these platforms, these OTT platforms. So he went to one place and they outrightly said no. So he went to another place and they said, you give us the whole series, we'll look at it and then we'll decide. And then he went to another place and they said, I'm sorry, we don't even want to look at this. The only things that sell are sex, crime, and murder. If you can give me any of this, we will take it. So they have also understood a particular pattern and have decided that clearly this crime patrol and all of that, my God, nasty shows. Those are the most popular shows on Indian television. The society wants it. That's why they're taking it. So, look at the positive side and all the good work that they have done as well. Have you seen the election commission? They risk their lives with their, ballot boxes and, the electronic voting machine and EVMs, and they travel to God-forsaken places, holding on to the cliff like this with one bag on their shoulder and going across and ensuring that 2 people come and vote. That is what we need to do. But it is the civil service officers who can ensure that a bridge is made, can ensure that a bus goes there. That is the kind of work that you can do. But you need to be interested in doing that kind of work. You shouldn't say that, let it be. It's okay. I'll fill my pocket. Whatever has to happen will happen. If you have that kind of an attitude, you can become very rich. You can go places. You'll have your children studying, one in US, one studying in UK. Never thinking about India again. Have a nice big Toyota hybrid Camry that is coming out now. Hydrogen version. All of that you can have. But there are chances that you'll go to jail also. That is the other side of it. If you don't get caught, well and good. But there are those who get caught too. So if you really want to bring about change, you really want to make a difference, like I said, to ensure that, one bus takes a little bit of a detour and ensures that it goes and reaches that village so that those people can come to the city and buy their groceries for the day, rather than risking their life in that basket boat and crossing the river to buy some, you've seen that, no? Basket boat? What is it called? Malayalam? Huh? You know what it is, right? It'll keep, if you don't turn it properly, it'll keep turning there only. So they have to use that and go. But no, the DM will say, no, this bus will go there in the morning and it will go back in the evening. It will get done. It's just that you have to take a little bit of interest. Which one of you doesn't want to bring about change like that? Do you want to or no? Once you get into the service, you will have all these opportunities to do all of these things and you can truly change India. And not just that, once you grow, you get into better positions. You get into places where you can actually make a policy. You can help out in ensuring that these policies are made based on the locals, based on ensuring that they help the grassroots level people at the end of the day. And as an IFS officer, you are sitting and have you seen those deadly speeches at the UN? Every time there is a junior officer who gives those beautiful speeches, don't you want to be one of them? You can be. That is what. And when you have your Indian flag flying in front of your car in a foreign land, and you know that you are representing your country, it's a beautiful feeling. The kind of negotiations that you have, the Australian trade deal, it's called the ECTA, Economic Comprehensive Trade Agreement. The one that we had with UAE is called SEPA. I've already told you what SEPA is. The negotiations, the research work, the background work is all done by junior level IFS officers. It has to start somewhere. It starts there. Finally, it goes up and it is taken at a much higher level. So all through the journey, all along the way, you have so much to do. You are also the eyes and ears for New Delhi in a foreign land. Police service, I already told you. You can ensure that at the grassroots level, that woman who's being beaten up in the house every day by her husband after getting drunk is taken care of. Look at Gujarat. Amazing work thanks to what the Indian civil service personnel have done on the ground. Gujarat is probably the safest, not probably, it is the safest state in the country. And even if you go looking in the newspapers, you won't find some kind of a heinous crime from Gujarat. Women openly go out at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock without any trouble. That can be implemented everywhere if the right kind of people are there. And you can do it. Each and every one of you can do it. The power to change this country is in your hands, nobody else's. Politicians are all the same, be it BJP, Congress, the left parties or any party. They will never change. They only have one agenda, one idea in mind: how to win the next election. By hook or by crook, I have to win the next election. The only way that this country can change is through the civil services. And each and every one of you has the power to bring about that change. So, you decide what kind of an officer you want to be. And you decide how you want to change this country. It's all in your hands. Yes, no? Any questions? Any issues that you guys want to talk about? Any topics, subjects, or anything that you guys want to say or find out about? Anything? No? No question? Please stand up. Indian what service? Revenue service, Everything that you do is economy related, isn't it? Everything that you do is economic related. So, in 1 rupee that is spent also has to be looked at by an IRS officer eventually. So, if the accounts are not right, lot of ghamla can happen. So, you have to ensure that everything is in place. It's not considered to, it's a group A service. It's a very sought after service as well. The same perks and same advantages and everything, status and everything is given to the IRS officers as well. They have to sit down and look at various tax related items, various revenue related items, and so many other things. Now say for instance, let's take an example. In the Indian Army, you have the general, you have the brigadiers and all of that. But it is the same colonel, it is the same captain, it is the same major who's putting his life on the line on a daily basis and protecting each and every one of us. Same, but we never hear about them. It's the same case with the revenue service as well. They are the backbone. They ensure that everything is in order and everything is in place. If they are not there, the country will not function. It's as simple as that. You have to understand and realize that you're doing a great service to the nation. Without me, nothing will happen. Anyone else? No? Yes. We can't take a side because it's as simple as we have to be close to both Russia and the United States. So the best way of dealing with it is not taking sides, because if you take sides and say, for instance, you choose the United States, do you think Russia is going to be happy? Russia is the one who's always supported India from day one. At every vote at the UN, Russia has voted for India and never against India. So when you have a friend like that, an all-weather friend, no matter what has happened, has ensured that it has stood by you, how can you let that friend go? Secondly, we are highly dependent on Russia still as far as defense equipment is concerned. Tomorrow, if Russia says we are not going to give you any defense equipment, or we are not going to service any of your aircraft parts or anything, what will we do? We won't have anything. It's not like the Americans are going to come with us, come and give us everything. And if the Americans give us something also, it will be at a price. And at a price that we can't afford, and at a price that we can't pay at the moment. The Americans are saying we are ready to supply weapons and other things to you. But at what cost? Economically as well, it is not viable for us. And it's always good to ensure that we have multiple options. We shouldn't put all our eggs in one basket. For instance, the S-400, what the Americans are offering us is the THAAD that is there in South Korea, which is used against North Korea and defense, anti-missile defense system. Right? So, the THAAD is nowhere close to the S-400, and it is much more expensive than the S-400 as well. So, it doesn't make economic and logical sense for us too. So, from that perspective, what we have done is the best option. What we have done is the right thing. Yes, no. Anyone else? Yes, please. In those areas, one I feel is policy deployment. We have a lot of schemes, both central government and state government. Many of those schemes are not actually implemented on the ground. On paper, these schemes are brilliant, but somehow implementation has always been a problem area for us. It's all there. Like I said, you don't have to do crazy, innovative, new, different things, The system itself provides for everything. It's to ensure that you implement what is there on paper, what is important. If you can get that done, for you it may be a small thing. I'm saying, say for instance, for a DM it may be a small thing. But for whom that is helping, or for the life that it is touching, it is the biggest thing that has ever happened to them in their life. So that is the kind of change that is required. For a DM or for a district collector and all of that, it's like, what is this stupid, silly thing? But just that one sign will change the life of an entire family and the lives of everyone else who is attached to that family as well. That is what is important. So the schemes and the policies and everything are in front. Implementation is the biggest challenge in this country. If a young civil servant can ensure that you go by the book, go by the law, and just ensure that it is implemented right, It makes a world of difference. For the country, same thing goes with policy implementation abroad as well. You look at the number of projects that we have in Bhutan, you look at the number of projects that we have in Nepal. Why do many of these neighboring countries go to China? When China says, I will finish this project in 36 months, it will finish it in 28 months. When we say 36 months, 10 years the project is still being implemented. But it is not the fault of only the IFS officer. The IFS officer has to coordinate with the officer on this side as well, administrative service officer, who has to ensure that all the red tape is cut. So you and if you are in the IFS and your friend is in the IAS and your departments match, you can do a lot of golmaal also. You can also ensure that there is a lot of work that happens also. So you ensure that the work happens, coordinate with each other, ensure that the ministry which is looking after the implementation of that project there is doing its work here. Those are the kind of changes that you can bring about. Yes, please. You can't trust. You have to look at the psychology of it's like history. We only know one side of the story because we've only seen one side of the story. But you have to look at the psychology of the person who's written that story as well, isn't it? For instance, Akbarnama is written by whom? Abu Fazl. Abu Fazl was fed by Akbar. So obviously he'll write in a particular way. So if you look at the newspapers and publications as well, you know who owns what, who controls what. So they will write in a particular way. So you need to ensure that you get all sides of the story and then come up with your own conclusion. That is what is important. That's the only way. There's no other way. As far as Kashmir is concerned also, we are very clear. We don't want anybody to get involved. It's a personal matter of India. Don't bother. We are taking a global stand on this. So how can we be hypocritical when something else is happening somewhere else? Because Russians say that they have a legitimate right as to what they are doing and how they are carrying out things. And the Russians also clearly state that all the incidents of violence that are taking place are not carried out by the Russian military, but they are carried out by militia groups, right? So they are very clear about that. The Ukrainians also are very clear from their side that, whatever is being done against us is not logical. They shouldn't be doing it. I'll ask you another thing. If Russia went to Mexico and placed some S-400 and, some tanks and some aircrafts and all of that in Mexico, would the United States keep quiet? Look at what they did to Cuba. And Cuba is far away from the United States. So you have to look at it from that perspective also. Ukraine, an integral part of USSR, which is sitting right there, where it's a gateway to Russia. So the Russians will legitimately be worried about their own security. Why are we so concerned about Sri Lanka? And what happens there? So that's it. So it's a bigger game that is going on, and you need to understand it from the big picture as to what is happening and what is not happening, and take it forward that way. Anyone else? Yes, please. See, the government has put it on paper, and it is for you to carry out that policy. You will have to carry out the policy because your job is to implement the policy. What can you say? Can you say that I don't like this policy? Because that policy is decided where? So whatever debates, deliberations, discussions have to happen there. If you say I'm not going to follow this policy, you'll be going against the will of the people in a way. Because it's coming, where is it coming from? You can take a stand and say that, you know what, I'm not going to do this, or I'm not going to follow it. You'll be transferred, somebody else will come and ensure that it is done. That is your right. The Constitution provides you that right to say that I am not okay with this, I'm not going through with it. Anyone else? Personal question, okay? It's my liberty to answer or not, but you can answer. You can ask the question. Asking is your right.
So being a government representative, how do you balance your own views and the government's views by listening and examining?
It's very simple. Actually, people think that, oh my God, kaise karta ho, so much and all that. As an individual, you have red lines. You don't cross those red lines. As long as you don't cross those red lines, nobody will say anything. I worked for almost 10 years, 1 decade with the Parliament of India. Not once has anyone come up to me and told me this is what you should do or this is what you shouldn't do. Not once. In fact, I've had so much more freedom working with, with the government channel than with private channels. Private channels are horrible. Government places are much better. Nobody will say anything. As long as they also know. They judge in the first instance itself whether this person, and at the end of the day, you need to be true to your country. It's as simple, it comes automatically. You don't have to, just never been a case like that.
Okay.
Thank you.
And
Thank you, everyone.
Yes, since we have to move to another program at 2 o'clock, there is an interaction with interview students. We are just winding up. I know that you all would love to hear more from sir, but time is the constraint as always. And I invite Ajo Michael to thank Frank sir.
Excuse me. Check. Right. Wow. That was great to listen from the Frank sir's mouth itself. All right. Unlike anybody else, Periera sir just embodies that confidence, India is passing through. You guys are mostly into coming into these things, preparation, learning about new things. So it's always good to hear about that, the Bharata, where Bharata is going, and the respect what the country is getting. The respect we get is basically what the respect the country gets if you are moving out or something like that. So our identity is always clubbed to the idea of Bharata, and Periera sir has been a very loud votary of the nation and how nation has to go through. So it was nice. When I called up Periera sir first, so I was very excited, was very welcoming, and was readily agreed to come here. That was very nice. And we are pleasant, very happy to hear that from. We have listened to you for long since our preparation times. You guys will be listening to sir. So it's always awesome to see you straightforward. Listen from you directly. That's been very nice. So we thank you, LeadIAS and the students all. We like to thank you very much. And not just that, sir has given us a lot of things, a lot of insights. Now it's just like sir goes away from us, we go move on, and then we just forget everything. That won't be enough. We'll have to, the 5 rules that we given. How to study, how to go about it, and how do you make your country proud. So for the full fruitfulness of the talk and the session we had, we also have to move back, go to our home, reflect on it, and just implement whatever things that have been shared, the ideas that have been given to us, the 5 steps, we have to religiously follow that. All right. So I hope you all do that. I'm sure we all do that. because I know you like for a long time now. All right. So on that note, I'd like to thank Sang sir again, Pranav sir again for being here. Thank you very much for all of you for being here. Wonderful crowd. A lot of good questions. Thank you.